I just had to tell you, when I was lost I found you as a refuge. So let me in, cause I just wanna be close to you. Today is the day, so live it up, up and away. Fly high over all that you have made, and I will praise your name. Pete Huli, Shari Tzedek, open for me, honestly. Pull the gates wide, let them swing right open, and I will run through. Pete Huli. This means brand new, and I can do whatever I want to. I say whatever I set my mind to. When nobody expected, but the stone that the builders rejected has become the most important piece. So you will hear from me. Pete Huli, Shari Tzedek, open for me, honestly. Pull the gates
What is the greater purpose of our coming together to celebrate Shabbat with the same words and rituals week after week? What's it all for? Well, let's begin at the beginning. Before there was anything, there was God, a few angels, and a swirling mass of rocks and water with no place to put it. The angels asked God, why don't we clean up this mess? So God collected the rocks, clumped them together, saying, some of this will be ocean, some of this will be clouds, and some will stay just water. Then the angels saw it and said, looks great, but is it finished? And God answered, nope. So on some of the rocks, God placed growing things, creeping things, living things, and set them all in order. And the angels saw it and said, it looks swell, but is it finished? And God answered, nope. God took some water and dust and made a man and a woman, saying to them, listen, people, I'm tired. I need you to finish up the world for me. Really, it's almost done anyway. But the man and the woman said, we can't finish the world. You have the plans. We're too little. But God answered, oh no, you are big enough, but I'll agree to this. If you keep trying to finish the world, I'll be your partner. Then the woman and man said, okay, but what's a partner? To which God answered, a partner is someone you work with on an important thing that neither of you can do alone. If you have a partner, it means you can't give up. So on the days you think I'm not doing enough, and even on the days I think you aren't doing enough, we're still partners because partners work together and never stop trying. And the man and the woman said, deal. Then the angels asked God, so is the world finished yet? And God answered, I'm not sure. You got to ask my partners. We are all partners with God in Tikkun, trying to make this world more caring, more peaceful, more complete and sweet. And so as long as we never stop trying, neither will God. And so too this morning, we are partners in celebrating Shabbat together. So join us in praying and listening to this great brother-sister pair, these partners, Cameron and Madeline, as they teach us their Torah and become B'nai Mitzvah. Please continue following our COVID safety protocols. Keep that mask on. Stay socially distant from those who are not in your family and or pod. Please, no singing. Our order of service is on our website, or for those of you who are on live stream, on the bottom of your screen. Now, I invite you to put away your weekday worries, turn off all those notifications, if only for an hour or two. Share it with us in making this morning sacred. After all, that is why we are here. And so we'll begin on page 78 in our Sidurim, praising God for the gift of body and soul, Elohai Neshama Shenatata Bi Tohorahi. My God, the soul you have given me is pure. We turn now to page 83 as we set our intentions for this morning, for the week ahead, and we read responsively. As I awaken, let this be my thought. May my day be filled with acts of loving kindness. Let me be drawn to learning and discernment, and may my actions be shaped by mitzvot.
Keep me from iniquity, disgrace, and sin. May I not be overwhelmed by temptation or despair.
Distance me from evil people and false friends. Let me cultivate a life of goodness.
May my hands reach out in kindness, and I will serve God through acts of righteousness.
Today and every day, may I merit your mercy by living my life with compassion and love.
Holy One of blessing, draw me to your words. Teach me the art of sacred living.
Baruch atah Adonai, hamelamed chasadim tovim le'amo Yisrael. We turn now to page 106 as we rise for Chatzi Kaddish and remain standing through the Shema. We turn now to page 108 for the Baruch Hu, and it is my pleasure to call upon our B'nai Mitzvah, our partners in worship leading this morning, Cameron Bryce and Madeline Rose, to lead us in the next portion of our worship service.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. We continue on page 110.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or uvarei choshe, osei shalom uvarei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'ladarim alecha brachamim, uvtuvo machadesh b'chol yom tamid, ma'aseh v'reshit.
Ma rabu ma'asecha Adonai, kulam behochma asita, mal al haaretz kinyanecha, titbara Adonai Eloheinu, al shevach ma'aseya deha, ba'al me'orei or sha'asita yefa'aruha sela, or hadash al tzion ta'ir, benizkeh hulanu mehera le'oro. Baruch atah Adonai, yotzer ha'me'orot.
We continue in the middle of page 113. Love your neighbor as yourself, you said. In light blinded we saw that inner and outer worlds are one as you are one. You spoke and we wrote.
We reached for you down the centuries, your light moving before us. As we climbed, fell back, and climbed again, your Sinai of life.
Baruch atah Adonai, haboher be'amo Yisrael ba'ahava.
We continue on page 114. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Please be seated.
We continue together on page 116. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha
בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם, בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיהם. אני אדוני אלוהיהם, אשר הוצאתי אתם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיהם. Amen. We continue in the middle of page 121.
Please read responsively.
The eternal truth is that you alone are God and there is none else.
May the righteous of all nations rejoice in your love and exult in your justice.
Let them beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks.
Let nation not lift up sword against nation, nor learn war any more.
You shall not hate your brother or your sister in your heart.
The stranger that sojourns with you shall be accepted as your equal, for you were strangers in the land of Egypt.
Why do you crush my people and oppress the poor? Asks God.
We know that the Eternal One defends the poor and upholds the rights of the needy.
Praise to God Most High.
Blessed is God and deserving of blessing.
Adonai, God Israel.
We continue with the chanting of the Amidah on page 124. Please rise. Adonai Sefatai Tiftach Ufi Agita Hilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzhak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanorah, El Elyon, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר הסטי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה, מלך עוזר ומשיח ומגן. ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיה הכל אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מכלכל חיים בחסד, מחיה הכל ברחמים רבים, סומך נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסירים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר, מי כמוך בעל גברות, ומידו מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה לחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיה הכל.
נקדש את שמך בעולם, כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב היה נביאך, וקרא זה ואמר, קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוך כל הארץ, כבודו. אדיר אדירנו, אדוני אדוננו, מודה שמך בכל הארץ, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. אחד הוא אלוהינו, הוא אבינו ומלכנו, הוא מושיענו והוא ישמיענו, ברחמיו לעיני כל חי. אני אדוני אלוהיך, ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהיך ציון, לדור ודור. הללויה. לדור ודור נגיד קודלך, ולנצח נצחים קדושתך נקדיש, ושבחך אלוהינו מפינו לא ימוש, לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Please be seated.
Please turn to page 132 and join in singing Yismehu as we praise God for the gift of Shabbat.
ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת. ישמחו במלכותך, שומרי 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 שבת, בקוראי עונג שבת.
We continue in the middle of page 137. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer to life, to peace, and to joy. May we find true rest, holiness in our deeds, worth in our study of Torah.
Let us feed on the love of goodness. Let us drink from the love of goodness. Restrain our thirst for excess and cleanse our hearts to serve life well. On this holy Shabbat, may we draw nearer in life, in peace, and in joy.
Baruch atah Adonai, she'otcha levadcha be'ira na'avod. We acknowledge with thanks that you are Adonai, our God, and the God of our ancestors forever. You are the rock of our lives and the shield of our salvation in every generation. Let us thank you and praise you for our lives which are in your hand, for our souls which are in your care, for your miracles that we experience every day, and for your wondrous deeds and favors at every time of day, evening, morning, and noon. O good one, whose mercies never end, O compassionate one, whose kindness never fails, we forever put our hope in you.
For all these things, O sovereign, let your name be forever praised and blessed. O God, our Redeemer and Helper, let all who live affirm you and praise your name in truth. Blessed are you, Adonai. Your name is goodness, and you are worthy of thanksgiving.
Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'eh lechodot.
Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tov v'racha. Sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tov v'racha. Ya la 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 la, ya la la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, 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 shalom, tov v'racha.
We continue on top of page 141. We oughtn't to pray for what we've never known and humanity has never known. Unbroken peace, unmixed blessing, no.
Better to pray for pity, for indignation, discontent, the will to see and touch, the power to do good and make new.
Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael b'shalom.
Having prayed for peace in our world, we think of those who face the future not fully whole, those who are in need of healing of mind, of body, and of spirit. We think of those whose names are listed in your order of service and those who are in our hearts. We take a moment to whisper their names aloud. Misha Barach can be found on page 253.
Help us find the courage Please take a moment for silent prayer.
Oh, say shalom bimromav. Say shalom aleinu. Ve'akol Yisrael. Ve'imru, imru, amen. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, yaseh shalom. Shalom aleinu ve'akol Yisrael.
Seder Kriyat Torah, service for the reading of Torah, page 245. Assemble the people, men, women, and children, and the strangers in your cities, to hear, to learn, to revere Adonai, your God, to observe faithfully the words of this Torah. And let their children who do not yet know it hear, that they too may learn to revere Adonai, your God. As we prepare to open our ark and take out our sacred scrolls, I call upon the generations of Cameron and Madeline's family to join them in a generational ceremony, passing Torah down from generation to generation. Along with Cameron and Madeline, I call upon their parents, Rachel and Jordan, as well as grandparents, Marcia and Tommy Lauderstein, Ellen Lasser and Tommy Kay, and John Lasser, and to open our ark, Aunt Carrie and Uncle Brad Feldman, and everyone else, I ask you to rise as well in honor of the Torah.
In kamocha Elohim Adonai, ben kemasecha. Malchutcha malchut kol ha'olamim, kol ma'mashaltecha b'chol dor v'dor. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai moch le'olam va'ed. Adonai oz le'moiten, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom.
Torah tzivalanu Moshe marashat kihilat Yaakov. This is the Torah given by God to Moses, the inheritance of the congregation of Israel. Cameron and Maddie, at Mount Sinai, God gave Torah to the people of Israel by handing it down to Moses as a gift of love. Moses took Torah and handed it down to Joshua. Joshua passed Torah down to the elders. The elders passed Torah down to the prophets, who spent their lives calling out its message of justice and freedom for all. The prophets handed Torah down to the Anshe Knesset Hagadolah, the men of the Great Assembly, who in their time passed Torah down to the rabbis. The rabbis spent their lives stepping inside the ancient teachings and words of the Torah text, sharing it with the people, finding modern meaning in their own day so that those rules, those guides, those teachings were relevant to them. And it was that practice that enables us to stand here with the generations of your family and pass Torah down to you, with the hope that it too will strike a chord, will find meaning and uplift and inspiration in your life as well. And just as God gave this gift to all of us as a gift of love, so too to the generations of your family, pass this down to you with love and pride, with excitement, and with the hope that someday you too will stand in front of a grateful congregation, a family and friends, maybe still here at Temple Beth-El like your father did just a few years ago, and pass Torah down to yet another generation that will come after the two of you. And so Torah goes, midor lador, from generation to generation. Oh dear. Here, Melanie, who gets which one? All right, cool. Okay, hold on. Very good. Got it? You're gonna come forward.
In
this scroll is the secret of our people's life from Sinai until now. Its teaching is love and justice, goodness and hope. Freedom is its gift to all who treasure it.
Baruch Shanatan, Torah, Torah. Baruch Shanatan, Torah, Torah. Le'amo Yisrael, b'kedushato. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Kadosh Shemo. Gadol Adonai iti, unomem Shemo yachtav. Lecha Adonai hagedula v'hagvura v'hatiferet v'hanetzach v'ha'od. Kicho b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, kicho b'shamayim u'ba'aretz. Lecha Adonai ha'mamlacha, lemitnaseh lechol erosh. L'dor vador, l'dor vador, l'dor vador nagid God lacha. L'dor vador, l'dor vador, l'dor vador nagid God lacha. U'lenetzach netzachim kedushatecha nakdish, kedushatecha nakdish. V'shivchacha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamush, le'olam le'olam va'ed. L'dor vador, l'dor vador, l'dor vador nagid God lacha. L'dor vador, l'dor vador, l'dor vador nagid God lacha. U'lenetzach netzachim kedushatecha nakdish, kedushatecha nakdish. V'shivchacha Eloheinu, mipinu lo yamush, le'olam le'olam va'ed. Maybe seated. This week we read from two Torah portions, Acharei Mot and Kedoshim. When it is not a leap year in the Jewish calendar, there are several weeks in the year that we need to read double portions in order to read the entire Torah in this year. So Cameron is going to read from Acharimot, Leviticus chapter 16, verses 1 to 12, which deals with the rules and rituals for the priests on the Day of Atonement. Maddie is going to read from Parshat Kedoshim, Leviticus 19, verses 9 through 19. And Kedoshim, the word means holiness. God tells Moses to instruct the Israelites in the laws of holiness. And for that reason, this part that Maddie is going to be reading is often called the Holiness Code. I am pleased to invite Cameron forward to read first, and also his grandparents, Ellen Lasser, Tommy Kay, and John Lasser, for the honor of the first Aliyah.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarah, Baruch Adonai Hamvarah Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bakar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Vaydaber Adonai el Moshe, Achremot, Shnei b'nei Aharon, Bekorvatam lifnei Adonai vayomutu. Vayomer Adonai el Moshe, Daber el Aharon, Achiha ve'al yavo bechol, et el, HaKodesh mi beit laparochet. El pnei HaKaporet, Asher al Ha'aron, Velo yamut ki be'anan, Era'eh al hakaporet, Bezot Yavo Aharon el Hakodesh Befar ben Bakar, Lechatat Ba'ayil Le'ola. The Eternal One spoke to Moses after the death of the two sons of Aaron, who died when they were too close to the presence of the Eternal. The Eternal One said to Moses, "Tell your brother Aaron that he is not to come at will into the shrine behind the curtain, in front of the cover that is upon the ark, lest he die. For I appeared in the cloud over the cover. Thus only Aaron shall enter the shrine, with a bull of the herd for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering."
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam notar b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
And for the honor of the second Aliyah, it's a pleasure to invite Cameron's parents, Rachel and Jordan.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarah,
Baruch Adonai Hamvarah Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten ha'Torah.
Amen. Ketzonet Bad, Kodesh Yobash Umechnes Evad, Yehayu al Basaro Iv'avneit Bad, Yachgor Iv'mitznefet Bad, Yitznof Bigde Kodesh Haim, Barachatz Bamayim et Basaro Uvesham, Yamut Umeet Adat B'nai Yisrael, Yikach Shnei Seirei, Izim Lechatat Ve'ayil Echad Le'ola. V'hikriva Haron, Et Par, Hachatat Asher Lo, V'chiper Ba'ado Ve'ad Beito. V'lakach Et Shnei Haseirim, V'ha'emid Otam Lifnei Adonai, Petach Ohel Moed. He shall be dressed in a sacral linen tunic, with linen breeches next to his flesh, and be wrapped with a linen sash. And he shall wear a linen turban. They are sacral vestments. He shall bathe his body in water, and then put them on. And from the Israelite community, he shall take 2 he-goats for a sin offering and a ram for a burnt offering. Aaron is to offer his own bowl of sin offering, to make atonement for himself and his household. Aaron shall take the 2 he-goats and let them stand before the Eternal at the entrance of the tent of meeting.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah temet, v'chayei olam nata b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
The final aliyah we reserve for Cameron, our bar mitzvah. Ya'amod Ephraim Hilo ben Yarden v'rachel bracha habachur habar mitzvah.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvorah.
Baruch Adonai hamorach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorah le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. V'natan Aharon al Shnei Haseirim Goralot Goral Echad le'Adonai Vegoral Echad le'Azazel. V'hikriv Aharon et Hasair Asher ala alav Agoral le'Adonai ve'asa'u Chatat v'hasair Asher ala alav Agoral le'Azazel. Yo'omad Chai lifnei Adonai lechaper alav leshalach oto la'azazel hamidbara v'higriva haron et par hachatat asher lo v'chiper ba'ado v'ad beito v'shachat et par hachatat asher lo v'lakach melo hamachta gachalei esh me'al hamizbeach milifnei Adonai ve'umelo Hofnav Ketoret, Tamim Daka Behavi Mi Beit La Prochet.
Yeah, drop. It's like a mic drop.
Sorry. And you shall place lots upon the 2 goats, one marked for the Eternal, and the other marked for Azazel. Aaron shall bring forward the goat designated by lot for the Eternal, which he is to offer as a sin offering, while the goat designated by lot for Azazel shall be left standing alive before the Eternal, to make atonement with it and to send it off in the wilderness for Azazel. Aaron shall then offer his bowl of sin offering, to make atonement for himself and his household. He shall slaughter his bowl of sin offering, and he shall take a handful of glowing coals scooped from the altar before the Eternal, and 2 handfuls of finely ground aromatic incense, and bring this behind the curtain. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
More loud?
Cameron.
Okay. Parshat Achremot tells the story of Aaron's late sons, Nadab and Abihu, decisions and their death. As the story unfolds, God tells Aaron that their decisions were either good or bad. God tells Moses about the laws for Yom Kippur and other laws. The verses that I read talk about how after the death of Aaron's sons, Nadab and Abihu, Moses tells Aaron that he is able to walk in the sanctuary alone, but must bring a bull for the people and 2 he-goats for himself. These 2 goats allow for the sin offering to God, one marked for Azazel, which is bad, and the other for God, which is good. Aaron by himself is to decide which will be the scapegoat, the one representing all the bad things that people have done. These bad things include the sins, errors, and mistakes of those who decided to commit them. Aaron then kills the bull and the he-goat marked for God, while the goat marked for Azazel is allowed to roam free in the wilderness. One thing I wanted to know is how did Aaron know which goat was in fact good or bad? A commentator who answered this question was Abravanel, a Portuguese Jewish philosopher, Bible commentator, and financier who lived in the 15th century. He explained that Aaron blindly chose which goat was good and which was bad. Abravanel then explained that he felt that the goat should be a reminder of Jacob and Esau and how people can choose how they want to be and that they can pave their own path. Jacob and Esau were twins. Jacob was a shepherd, which was good, and Esau was a wandering hunter, which was bad. I agree with Abravanel that everyone should have the option to do well in life. Each person can choose what decisions they make and how the consequences of their actions could be for Azazel or for God. I myself am a serious negotiator and a bit of a troublemaker in my younger days. I have made many not-so-smart choices in the past and paid some very first-world punishment. Grounding from Wi-Fi, lights out at 8 p.m., harsh stuff. But I work on choosing good with each decision, most of the time. But learning to make the correct decision between Azazel bad and God good could lead me to a path of wisdom, like being a lawyer. For instance, in the game Jetpack Joyride, there is an in-app purchase for a jetpack that is called the Sleigh of Awesome. I really wanted it, so I kept on asking my dad to get it, and he said no. Then a few days later, I wrote a persuasive speech, and I projected my images and videos up on the TV to aid into my presentation. My dad finally said yes. I was so happy. I think this knowledge of persuasive writing could put me in a lawyer position where I could not only help myself, but others. Becoming a bar mitzvah is important to me because it gives me the thought of what I could do in the future. It gives me pride in being Jewish, not just that, being a human in general. It is a blessing for me to be standing here today. Being part of this religion has had a big impact on my life. I will raise my children and teach them about the Judaism I have learned throughout my life. Another important thing about becoming a bar mitzvah is maturing throughout the lifetime I have on this earth. I have so much to learn, so much to offer, and for that I am thankful. Under normal circumstances, when we're not in a global pandemic, I would be looking out to all the marvelous people in the congregation, seeing many of my family and friends right here in front of me. Thankfully, we have technology, which I personally love, and it has allowed all of you, my close family and friends, to be here with me today. I would like to thank my Bubby, Poppy, Mimi, Papa, Pops, and let's not forget my 94-year-young great-grandma Bubs. Big brother Jake. Thank you so much for making me the strong person I am today. You gave me bruises, but like Kelly Clarkson once sang, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Maddie, the drama queen. But the most cheerful and enthusiastic sister any brother could ask for. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for always being there for me when I am not strong. I am most thankful that we can share this blessed day together. Mom and Dad. Let's start with Mom. Your smile brings out the joy in me and motivates me to do better in the future. That heartwarming laugh you have fills me with joy. We share so many fantastic traits. For instance, we have great eagle eyes, great sniffers, and the ability to name the song just by the first word of the voice. As you can see, all the redirections and positivity you have given me have finally paid off. And Dad. Oh boy. Where do I start? Can you believe that your Brysovich is finally becoming a bar mitzvah? It's been a hard road to get where I am now, and trust me, hard is just the icing on the cake. I love finding a way to make you laugh and sometimes cry in a happy way. Now that we are all adults in the house, I would like to believe that the maturity level will increase and that all of our children will work hard to provide for not only ourselves, but for the family and the world. I'd like to give a humongous thanks to Rabbi Nathan, Cantor Berlin, and Rabbi Jurgen for motivating me and helping me do better and push my stuff and organize my stuff and push me to do better. And a most tremendous thanks goes to my tutor Huggy for your patience and spending hours of time going over the prayers with me and my sister. All your hard work is really appreciated. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Shabbat Shalom.
And now, I'd like to invite Maddie to come forward. And for the honor of the first Aliyah, it's a pleasure to invite Maddie's grandparents, Marcia and Tommy Lauderstein.
Baruch Adonai Havarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amin. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Uvchutrachem et ketzir artzachem. Lo techale pe'at tzad haliksor. Beleket ketzircha lo telaket. Baharmecha lo ta'olel. Uferet karmecha lo telaket. Le'ani ve'lager ta'azov otam. Ani Adonai Elohechem. Lo tignovu ve'lo tehachashu ve'lo teshakru ish ba'amito. Ve'lo tishavu bishmi lashaker v'hilalta et Shem Elohecha ani Adonai. When you reap the harvest of your land, you shall not reap all the way to the edges of your field, or gather the gleanings of your harvest. You shall not pick your vineyard bare, or gather the fallen fruit of your vineyard. You shall leave them for the poor and the stranger. I, the Eternal, am your God. You shall not steal. You shall not deal deceitfully or falsely with one another. You shall not swear falsely by my name, profaning the name of your God. I am the Eternal.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan lanu Torah emet. V'chayei olam nata b'chatenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
And for the honor of the second Aliyah, it's a pleasure to invite Maddie's parents, Rachel and Jordan.
Baruch et Adonai Hamvarach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamvarach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim. V'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
Lo ta'ashok et re'aha ve'lo tigzol lo talin ve'ulat sachir ita ad boker. Lo tekalel cherish v'lifnei iver lo titen michshol ve'aretam Elohecha ani Adonai. Lo ta'asu avel b'mishpat lo tisna b'nei dal ולא תחדר פני גדול בצדק לשפוט עמיתך. לא תלך רכיל בעמך, לא תעמוד על דם רעך, אני אדוני. You shall not defraud your fellow Israelite. You shall not commit robbery. The wages of a laborer shall not remain with you until morning. You shall not insult the deaf or place a stumbling block before the blind. You shall fear your God. I am the Eternal. You shall not render an unfair decision. Do not favor the poor or show difference to the rich. Judge your kinsmen fairly. Do not deal basely with members of your people. Do not profit by the blood of your fellow Israelite. I am the Eternal.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tohenu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen.
The final aliyah we reserve for our bat mitzvah. Ta'amod Shoshana Leah bat Yarden Rachel habachura habat mitzvah.
Baruchu et Adonai hamivorah.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai hamvarach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Lo tisna et achicha bilvavecha hocheach tochia et amitecha velo tisa alav chet. Lo tikom velo titor et bnei amecha ve'ahavta l'reacha kamocha ani Adonai. Et hukotai tishmoru behemtecha lo tarbia kil'aim tzadcha lo tizra kil'aim uveged kil'aim sha'nez lo ya'ale alecha. You shall not hate your kinsfolk in your heart. Reprove your kin, but incur no guilt on their account. You shall not take vengeance or bear grudge against members of your people. Love your fellow Israelite as yourself. I am the Eternal. You shall observe my laws. Do not let your cattle mate with a different kind. You shall not sow your field with two kinds of seed. You shall not put on a cloth from a mixture of two kinds of material. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
My Torah portion, Kedoshim, explains that we shouldn't take Adonai for granted. For example, in the first couple of verses, it talks about how we shouldn't make Adonai harvest all of our crops on its own, but rather we do all of it instead. The verses then explain what love thy neighbor as thyself means, and this is what I want to focus on today. When reading these verses, I wanted to know, what does it truly mean to love thy neighbor as thyself? Moses Maimonides, a philosopher and rabbi born in 1138, explains that you have to have a pure and genuine heart to be nice and do acts of righteousness for your neighbors. Maimonides recognizes that it's a hard thing to do, but we have to be nice to others no matter how much they bother you. I totally agree with Maimonides. It sometimes can be really hard to be nice to everybody all the time, especially when people can throw all kinds of obstacles at you. Sometimes I feel like I'm just going to snap under the pressure. And sometimes we have to take it one more difficult step and just start fresh, with an empty slate for that person. I will admit, when somebody is rude to me, the first animal instinct I feel is to be rude right back. One time in 5th grade, some people were bullying a boy, and under the weight of peer pressure and my immaturity, I joined in. After that, a feeling of shame came over me, and I vowed to never partake in bullying again. And furthermore, when I see someone getting bullied, I feel it my right to stand up and try to intervene when something is wrong. Now, as I become a bat mitzvah, I reflect on the teachings of our wonderful clergy, my Torah portion, and the teachings of Maimonides to prove to myself that there is always a nicer way to approach thy neighbor. I have learned that you don't have to be rude back. In fact, it may be best to be as nice as possible. You know the old saying, you get more bees with honey than vinegar? If you do that, maybe they'll take a step back and realize that they have not been nice. And even if they don't change their attitude, I know I'm making the right decision, and as my mom says, taking the high road. Participating in my B'nai Mitzvah with my brother Cameron and becoming a Bat Mitzvah is really important to me. It's the beginning of a new chapter in my young life. It is not only a young Jewish woman's rite of passage, but preparing for this has given me a sense of reality that I'm growing up and about to start taking on more responsibility in my home, religion, and community. Now, a big thank you goes out to Rabbi Jurgen, Rabbi Nathan, Cantor Berlin, and Hagit, first and foremost for putting up with me and my brother and really sticking with us when we weren't giving the effort that this event deserves. We put in the hours and we finally made it. Thank you. Mom, thank you so much for giving birth to me. I love our inside jokes, and I love all the fun we have together. I know I'm your favorite child, by the way. I love you so much, Sour Patch. Dad, although you make me so angry sometimes, I still love you so much. I love the way you make me laugh, even though you give me those painful hiccups. I can't wait for the adventures we're going to have when I'm older. I love you so much. Jakey, you're a good big brother. When you want to be. Thank you for helping me with my B'nai Mitzvah project. Thank you for being my big brother. Cameron, thank you for waiting a year to do this mitzvah with me, B'nai Mitzvah with me. I really appreciate it. I loved preparing for this wonderful day with you. I love you so much. Even though the pandemic almost ruined 2020, it has brought my family closer together, whether it's movie or game night. I love my family. I would like to thank my friends for logging on to my B'nai Mitzvah. Although I'm sad that we're in a global pandemic and that all of you are not able to physically be here with us today, I'm glad that you are safe at home. Thanks to all of you for watching and spending some of your time with Cameron and me. We have a lot of the states covered: Texas, California, Washington State, New York, Michigan, Illinois, Florida, Colorado, and some that I'm sure I'm missing. We appreciate you watching and sharing this special day with us. Shabbat Shalom.
As we have concluded our reading of Torah for this Shabbat, I'd like to invite Maddie and Cameron's grandfather, Tommy Lauderstein, to lift our Torah, and their brother, Jake, to address the Torah. And I'll invite you all to please rise. Torah shesa Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael al pi Adonai b'yad Moshe v'zot haTorah shesa Moshe lifnei bnei Yisrael
Awkward. You may be seated. For those of you who were with us last night for our Erev Shabbat, I started our service by reminding us that we learn in Talmud, in Pirkei Avot, that the world stands on three pillars: Torah, Avodah, Gemilut, Chasadim, on learning, on worship, and on acts of loving kindness. And so our B'nai Mitzvah have beautifully fulfilled two out of these three pillars already, They've led us in worship. They have taught us great Torah. And now they get to fulfill that pillar of Gemilut Chasadim, of acts of loving kindness, by sharing their prophetic perspective. At Temple, instead of a traditional Haftarah, we ask our students to learn the Haftarah blessings and then pick a prophetic text that is meaningful to them, a text that is somewhere in the building, in the structure of Temple Beth-El, many on the stained glass windows, that speak to the core values of our congregation. And so Madeline and Cameron have each chosen a text that speaks to them, and in addition to their blessings, they will share their prophetic perspective.
Wow.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nviim tovim v'ratza v'divreihem ha'ne'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai haboher ba'ara u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nviei ha'emet b'tzedek.
My prophetic text is Psalms 85:11, which states, "Mercy and truth have met together, righteous and peace have kissed each other." If you're looking for it, it's right over there on the left one. Yeah. This is a very important piece of text that describes what the world is like right now. Even though our society has been damaged by events like COVID-19 and riots, doesn't mean that it is not possible to see through it all and be positive. Because, as we all know, God is looking down on us, giving us mercy on what is happening. The truth is that all this is happening for a reason. We might not know what the reason is, but only God knows. This relates to me in a very big way. When I think all hope is lost in something, God knows what to do. It's all part of God's plan. He helps everyone in his very unique way. He loves everyone and shows mercy upon us. My brother says, if God was real, then why did he start all this havoc in the first place? Well, Jake, I don't have a very firm answer, but my guess would be that God is sure that this will bring us together as a society, and it is our choice to make the next.
For my prophetic text, I chose Amos 5:2-4, which is on the right side, far right. But let justice well up as waters, and righteousness as a mighty stream. I think this means that just by being kind, you can move mountains, make waters rise, and do the impossible. All it takes is one phrase or action to make someone's day or even their future. An example of this is, if a person that is normally not kind gets injured, and you are the one to lend help, the thought is that they would reflect on my kindness and see the error in their ways and change to be more kind and generous. In other words, if we are nice to our peers, we can change their behavior into thinking that they can be a nice person. If these changes take hold on young adults' levels, imagine if we all thought this way, we could all truly move mountains. For our mitzvah project, my brother and I are making homemade dog treats for the Humane Society shelter for the dogs. My brother and I chose to do this project because we both love dogs, although I'm leaning towards more cats. This project is dedicated to our dog, Cooper. I have loved making dog treats with my brother for the past 4 months. I could have not asked for a more awesome mitzvah project or a more awesome family to help organize this. When we see dogs roaming the streets with nowhere else to go, I ask my mom if we could stop and take it to the vet. She says no. Of course. Those dogs may have no idea about the comfort we could give them, so my brother and I decided to make a change. We both have a very deep affection for animals, and I hope we can make a difference. A small difference, if anything. Once again, thank you for logging on. Shabbat Shalom. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Sur kol ha'olamim, Tzadik b'chol hadorot, Ha'el ha'ne'eman, Ha'omer be'oseh, המדבר ומקיים, שכל דבריו אמת וצדק. על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה, שנתת לנו, אדוני אלוהינו, לקדושה ולמנוחה, לכבוד ולתפארת. על הכל, אדוני אלוהינו, אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך. יתברך שמך בפי כל חי, תמיד לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני, מקדש השבת.
Yes. You've done it.
Next to man.
I did it. Here's.
Okay. Cameron's proud of me for making me cry already before I even started the speech. Yeah. Okay. Madeline Rose. Rose, Mads, Madalonia, Ladybug. Our little girl, you really shine today. But for those who know you, when you are on stage, or in this case, a bima with a mic, you typically do shine with that it factor and confidence. Plus, attending ECLA and taking Hebrew classes daily has really given you quite the edge. But as we call you our little girl, we hope you realize that this ceremony designates a big milestone, a turning of a page in your book of life. This marks the beginning of a new chapter, and with that, a new, more mature young woman. As you said in your devar, you are recognized as an adult in Judaism. Well, with that young adulthood, the responsibilities grow. Responsibility to your schoolwork, your house life, your relationships, and also your learning of Judaism and Torah. We can all see how being Jewish and doing Jewish things, such as participating in local Jewish youth events, attending Bat Mitzvah Club, and especially Green Family Camp, makes you so happy. Please keep it up so that our future generations will have our traditions passed down to them, and they can strive to reach this milestone as well. We are beyond proud of you, Maddie. Mazel tov. We love you.
Cameron Bryce. Brycevich. Cameroni. You really rocked it out today, little man. And by rocked it out, I mean very first time ever shaving rocked it out. Like worth the effort. Yeah. We know you would rock it out. Now, not that it's a competition between the two of you, like it always is. But while your sister is naturally very comfortable up here, we are so proud of your hard work to keep up to her level. You truly gave 100% and did an amazing job and rose to the occasion. Well done. As usual, you know how to turn it on when you need to. We believe it's your competitive spirit that makes you so good at that. But now that you are a bar mitzvah, it is time to turn it on more often than not. You are so capable, so bright, and you have such a big heart. We hope you do understand this is a ceremony and a celebration that is not an end, but a beginning to your understanding of your heritage of Judaism. We always tell you that you're one of very few Jewish people on this earth. Relish in the understanding that you have accomplished what very few people have ever done. You are a limited edition, one of a kind. We know how absolutely you know how to be your best self and your mensch. You are a mensch. We're doing a good job as parents raising a mensch. Both of you. Thank you. We have all seen it, and we believe in you. Mazel tov, Cam. We love you. Now some words for the both of you. As you have heard, we are so proud of the job you did today. This last year has been absolutely topsy-turvy for all of us. With our new COVID lifestyle of more seclusion and more screen time, we've all been out of sorts, to say the least. Hopefully, over these next few months, things will get to looking more like normal, and we will return to the acting stage in the sports field. Do you remember the theater and the sporting events, what they used to be like? There used to be things.
Like this bema you are on right now, y'all are the only one in the universe right here, right now, and in front of potentially millions of people, showing them what you have learned and how well you've prepared to make this joyous event a success. We really hope you both know how truly great you are and how putting your best self forward, like you did here today, gives you a sense of pride that will stick with you and reminds you frequently that putting the love into the work is worth the effort. We always tell you to put the love into things that you do. And today you did just that, and we could tell. How special is it that you, Madeline and Cameron, get to experience your B'nai Mitzvah together? Mazel tov. We love you both so much. We would like to thank you all for sharing in this most special occasion. Some special thanks are due to some who really made this happen. Thank you, Rabbi Nathan, Rabbi Jurgen, and Cantor Berlin. Your guidance, whether it be for the kids or Jordan and me, has made this B'nai Mitzvah process relatively seamless. I know Maddie and Cameron are so grateful for your efforts made guiding them towards this day.
Thank you, Hagit. Thank you. I know you hear this all the time, but you are such a special teacher. You get the most of these students year in and year out. Rachel and I thank you for dealing with the shenanigan of these two particular B'nai Mitzvah students. We know how difficult they can be, but your persistence triumphed once again. Well done. Thank you again. To our families, Mimi, Papa, Pops, Bubby and Poppy, and Bubs. We know you're watching over there, Bubs. Thank you, all of you, for all of this. It is because of you that all this is able to happen. Thank you. We love you all. And thank you to all the extensions from this family that we talk about. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you all for coming and making the effort to get here for us. To my wife, Rachel. Thank you, my love, for nothing in my life would be good without you. All the planning you did for this day and every day in our lives. I cannot thank you enough. I love you more than anything. We love you. Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
Keep it PG, kids.
What? Keep it PG, kids.
Yeah. At this poignant moment of blessing, we make ready to return Torah to the Ark. We turn to page 256. I'd like to call up Aunt Elisa Foster and Uncle John Lasser to open our Ark, and I'd ask you all to please rise. You may be seated, except for Cameron and Madeline. All right. Perfect. You guys don't go what? No. Come on. Okay. So, Cam, Maddie, you did it. How you feeling? Well, I know how you're feeling. We got a mic drop. We've got a woo, right? Pretty awesome. And one of the things I love about both of you is that you were both totally yourselves this morning, but also you were your best self, right? And it's a joy to see not only you both read Torah beautifully and lead services beautifully, but to really enjoy being together and working, like I said at the very beginning, like partners. I saw you like giving each other the look, like, are we doing this? Are we doing that? Like supporting each other and really being in the moment and exuding joy and pride and having reached this moment. Not that I'm surprised you reached the moment or did a beautiful job, each in your own wonderful way. But as I said to you when we were back in the president's room, watching both of you grow from little kids into these wonderful young adults, really just, it's the best. I just love it. You guys got a double Torah portion, Achrimot, Kiddushim, perfect for 2 people. And as I said to Kendra Berlin, in some ways you both gave us the same message, but each in your own wonderful way, which is life is full of choices, and it depends what you do with those choices that determine who you will be in the world and also the impact you have on the world, right? So in Achrimot Kedoshim, you chose the scapegoat conversation about Azazel. You asked the question, how does Aaron decide which one is the good one and which one is the bad one, right? And the answer from Maimonides, other commentaries in the Torah, it's random, right? He literally would like pick up paper out of a bowl and say, all right, that one, right? And that's to show us we all have the capacity to do great good. We also have the ability to not do so good. Each of us is both of those goats, right? And every single year, or every single day even, we have the choice of whether we're going to embody the good or the bad. And it's not always an easy choice. It's not even always a really clear choice, and yet we have the ability to make the right choice. And I love that you focused on that. And also, Cam, we're like really honest to say like, hasn't always been easy for me to make that right choice, but I'm looking at you and I'm watching you make great choices all the time now. And that just makes me really proud of you. And it makes me, I love that you like convinced your dad to get you the add-in, the in-app purchase thing with like the full-on presentation. No. All right, I'll connect it. What do you need, tissue? Yeah, all right, there you go. I'm going to connect it for you, okay? Because it was something that you wanted, right? You asked for it, and you didn't just find a workaround to get it somehow, right? You didn't deceive anybody. You didn't go figure out some way to get what you wanted just because you wanted it. You worked for it, right? You took the time to think about, why do I want this thing? I'm going to show that I'm thoughtful, that I'm mature, that I'm going to take the time to present something, put it on paper. Clearly your dad was impressed, right? Well, let's not keep making presentations to get more apps. We don't need more apps. But the point is, you took the best of who you are, your intelligence, your creativity, your thoughtfulness, and you put those on display, right? And so your dad was like, cool, okay, right? Madeline. Love your neighbor as yourself, right? Right up there. One of the things that we often forget is right before it says in that Torah portion, you said it, you read it, love your neighbor as yourself, it also says, do not act vengefully towards your enemy, right? So it doesn't just say be good to the people you like or the people you know. It says, like you drashed about, even people who are challenging, even people who you may not like, even if people you have cause to not like, you still have to try to be a neighbor to them, right? And a lot of the commentaries, it doesn't mean you have to like them or love them or be friends with them. It means you have to treat them with respect. It means you have to try to be empathetic and understand who they are and where they're coming from. And like I said last night, to try to make sure that they, an extension by the world, are taken care of. And I see that in who you are. You are kind and you are fun and you like to bring people together. You're happier when you're with people together. And you understand, and we're even honest enough to talk about a moment in your life where maybe you made the Azazel choice, right? You made the wrong choice. And then you went back and said, you know what? That was the wrong choice and I never want to feel that way again. I'm going to work harder to make the right choice. That shows thoughtfulness, maturity, and a knowing about how you want to feel in the world and who you want to be in the world. You both understand more and more every day that you have the choice about how you want to be in the world. That doesn't come from nowhere. You got two great parents who think about those things and articulate those things to you and to your brother all the time, right? In your Devar Torah, I heard that you may have inherited your father's salesman genes, talking about how you're going to get out there and share the word. And I heard from you, Cam, how you have inherited your mom's thoughtfulness and lovingness and wanting to heal and make everyone good in the world. Not that you each don't have the other as well, but it's amazing to see both of you bringing out the best of who your parents are in your own lives as well. It's just a pretty awesome thing. So, at this moment, I want you, hopefully when this is over, to look back and think not only, I can't believe I did this in a pandemic, even though it's hopefully more or less at the end of the pandemic, it's good, but that you did it together, that you kept your calm, you kept your enthusiasm, you understood that this is just the biggest example of life not being perfect and needing to pivot and be flexible and figure out how to make the best of any given situation, which you did with the support of your parents and your grandparents and your aunts and uncles and your cousins and all those people out there on live stream who are cheering you on. So when you look back next week and you're in school and you're just doing your normal Zoom or in-school kind of stuff and you're still wearing the mask, right? And you're like, wow, did I wear a suit? Did I wear a very glittery, sparkly dress? And lead the whole congregation beautifully? The answer is yes. And that this is just an indication of all the amazingness the two of you have inside you today, which is just going to keep growing as you continue to make good choices in your life. Sheping Nachas, that's Yiddish for overflowing with love and pride and joy. Your parents are feeling it. Everyone here is feeling it too. We're going to cap off this moment of blessing with Birkat Kohanim, the priestly benediction. So I'm going to invite the two of you to come over here with your parents, Kendra Berlin, Rabbi Jurgen. Everyone, please rise.
Yevarechecha Adonai b'shmerecha.
May God bless you and keep you.
Yair Adonai panav elecha v'neka.
May God deal kindly with you and be gracious unto you.
Yisai Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
May God's radiant presence shine upon you, Cameron, Madeline, grant you life's choicest blessings of health, wholeness, happiness, lots of family love, and peace. Amen.
You may be seated, except for Cameron and Maddie. Okay, perfect. You don't have to go like too far. Okay, we're all masked. It's all good. I put all this over here. Okay. So this is the point where I get to give you some gifts. Yay, right? Okay. So here, I'm going to start this way. So we have your certificates, making sure that you recognize that you did all of this work to get here today. You guys rocked it. Also, we have gift certificates from North American Federation of Temple Youth to help get you on a trip to Israel. I have a feeling you'll be wanting to do that. And when you complete confirmation, because I know that you will, we at Temple Beth-El will match that and help get you on that trip even more.
Rabbi Jurgen, did you just reminded me of one thing? I'm pretty sure that Cameron quoted Jake's confirmation
speech.
Sinai statement in his prophetic perspective. Did you not? Pretty
Wait,
awesome.
was that on purpose? Okay.
But he did that.
But it was perfect. It was great. So we know that you'll do that, right? And write your own speech as well for that. You each get a Tanakh, a Bible from our sisterhood so that you can continue studying, and it has your name on it. So, and it's nice. They're different colors, so you definitely won't get them confused. So it's perfect. You're good. From Yachad, our religious school parents group, we give you each a tzedakah box. I know when we talked about Mitzvah Project and what you guys wanted to do, you had all these different ideas. Then we had to figure out how to make those happen in the middle of a pandemic. And so I know that you guys will put the tzedakah box to great, great use. And then from our brotherhood, we give you Kiddush cup and candlesticks so that you can continue your Shabbat traditions in your own way within your family. Sound good? All of it? Awesome. Okay. So we are going to continue with the concluding portion of our worship. Aleinu can be found on page 283, and I would like to invite up Maddie and Cameron's grandfather, John Lasser, to open our ark. And I ask the congregation to please rise.
The gifts got us excited. Sorry.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגור עלינו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We turn now to page 291 for our memorial meditation. It is hard to sing of oneness when the world is not complete, when those who once brought wholeness to our life have gone, and naught but memory can fill the emptiness their passing leaves behind. But memory can tell us only what we were in company with those we loved. It cannot help us find what each of us alone must now become. Yet no one is really alone. Those who live no more echo still within our thoughts and words, and what they did is part of what we have become. We do best homage to our dead when we live our lives more fully, even in the shadow of our loss. For each of our lives is worth the worth of the whole world, and each one is the breath of the ultimate one. In affirming the one, we affirm the worth of each one whose life, now ended, brought us closer to the source of life, in whose unity no one is alone, and every life finds purpose. Our thoughts turn now to those in our community who have died at this time in years past. As we mark their yahrzeits, we remember them. Pearl Abramson, Naomi Alomar, Fanny Baden, Beatrice Beer, Florence Beldner, Harriet Missy Burler, Bernard Beton, Emil Blum, Robbie Boone, Victor Butnick, Dr. Harold N. Cooper, Eva Eidelberg, Oscar N. Eldridge, Herbert Feldman, Abraham Feinsilver, Herzl Feinsilver, Tina Smith Gardner, Audrey Ruth Glavinsky, Clyde Goldsmith, Zelma Gottlieb, Stanley Hammer, Barbara Baloff-Heilman, Eleanor Honig, Sigmund Hoffman, Henry Josephson, Harvey Julius, Barbara Caden, Sylvan Julian Kaplan, Ruben Langbaum, S. Edgar Levine, Seidel Liffman, Ralph Lyon, Mose Macau, Molly Meyerowitz, Renee Pomper, Professor Margarita Susanna Petting-Rohan, Phyllis Holland Rubenstein, Gertrude Scharf, Hortense Ruth Fried Serrata, Gloria Silver, Henry Stern, Miriam Mimi Sugarman, Eileen Truhaft, Ellen Trevarthen, Ethel Welsh, Keith West, Hyman Winnicor, and Saul Zanar. We also think of those who died in the past month, whose families are in a mourning period of Shloshim. Remember Gerald Hurst, Dr. Elliot Wesser, Bernard Dave Cohen, Harriet Prager, Hillary Sanders, and Margarita C. Rodriguez. At this sacred hour, Maddie and Cameron's family particularly remembers Hetty Reisberg, Fred Reisberg, Lorraine Lauderstein, Herb Lauderstein, Roz Lasser, Marvin Yaron, Jack Repp, Emily Zaltzman, Marilyn Charles, and Herb Charles. With all of these names, we add those which are in our hearts each and every day as we turn to page 294 for Kaddish Yatom and rise as a community. Yitzgadal v'yitzkadash shmei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayachon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol Beit Yisrael, v'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru, amen. Yehi shmei Rabbah mevarach le'elam ulmei almaya, yitvarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei d'kudasha b'richu, La'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Osei shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen.
Our closing song is Ein Keloheinu. I'm going to guess.
Page 322.
Page 322. Thank you, Jake. I'm going to ask you to come on up and join your brother and sister and your parents to lead us in Kiddush and Motzi afterward.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagaf. Yummy.
Shout out to my grandmother Bubby who made this.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamoti lechamin min hara hamoti le'amin haaretz.
Amen. Zeh hayom asa Adonai nagila v'nismecha avo. This is the day that God has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Shabbat shalom.